What is your most interesting encounter with the police? I was driving home from work when I saw flashing red and blue lights behind me. My heart immediately sank because I knew I wasn't speeding. The officer walked up to my window, flashlight in hand, looking completely serious. "Ma'am, do you know why I pulled you over tonight?" I honestly had no clue whatsoever. "No, sir, I really don't think so." He leaned down closer to my window. "Your license plate number matches a stolen vehicle report that was filed earlier this morning." My stomach completely dropped. This was my car. I'd been driving it every single day for 3 years. I had the title, the registration, everything. "There has to be some kind of mistake here," I said, my voice already starting to shake, but he wasn't buying it at all. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step out of the vehicle immediately while I run your information through our system." Standing there on the side of this busy road, cars flying past, I started completely panicking. What if someone had cloned my license plates? What if this was identity theft? What if I ended up in handcuffs over something I had nothing to do with? The officer was on his radio for what felt like an eternity. I could hear little bits and pieces of his conversation. Vehicle matches description perfectly, requesting backup unit, need to verify ownership. That's when I saw another police car pulling up behind the first one. Out stepped this older officer with gray hair and a mustache. He walked over, took one look at my car, and started laughing. Not just chuckling or smiling. I'm talking about full-on belly laughing, like he just heard the funniest joke of his entire life. "Thompson, you seriously called this in as the stolen vehicle from this morning?" The younger cop nodded, looking more confused by the second. "Yes, sir. License plates match the report exactly." The older officer shook his head, still grinning from ear to ear. "Son, that's my partner's daughter's car." I stared at him blankly, completely lost. I had never seen this man before in my life. He turned to me with the biggest smile I'd ever seen. "Honey, I'm pretty sure your dad called in his own car stolen this morning. Apparently, the old fool completely forgot that he lent it to you last week." That's when everything hit me like a freight train. This wasn't my car. It was the car I'd been driving, but it wasn't technically mine. My dad had completely forgotten our entire conversation from the previous week about borrowing his car while mine was stuck in the shop getting a new transmission. He'd handed me his keys, watched me drive away in his driveway, and then this morning, he'd apparently looked outside and completely blanked on the whole thing. The younger officer looked absolutely mortified. "So this is my partner's daughter driving her father's car that he reported stolen this morning because he's getting old and apparently his brain doesn't work like it used to." I immediately pulled out my phone and called my dad right there on the spot. He answered on the very first ring. "Did you steal my car?" he said before I could even get a word out. "Dad, I'm literally standing here with 2 police officers because you reported your own car stolen." There was this incredibly long, painful pause. I could practically hear the gears slowly turning in his confused head. Then, "Oh, right, you needed to borrow it because your transmission went out completely. My bad, sweetheart, sorry about that." The older officer took the phone directly from my hands. "Bob, this is Officer Carter. Your daughter is perfectly fine, your car is perfectly fine, and you need to come down to the station tomorrow morning to file some paperwork to clear this up." After he hung up the phone, he looked at me and said, "Welcome to having a father with selective memory. Mine called the cops on me last month for supposedly breaking into my own house." The younger officer was frantically writing in his notepad, shaking his head. "So no arrest today?" "No arrest, Thompson, just a very embarrassed father and one very relieved daughter." As I got back in the car, Officer Carter knocked gently on my window. "Tell your dad I said hi, and maybe write yourself a note next time about whose car you're actually driving." Definitely the best traffic stop of my entire life.